Yo, Josh Smith, what's up, bro?
Not much, man. What's going on with you?
Oh man, just trying to get everything wrapped up before Christmas. Having, I'll tell you, you ever have those like crazy days? Rob Wallace, what's up, bro? You have those like ever have those crazy days where like you have so many things to do that you can't actually like straighten out in your brain and untie all the knots and figure out what you should be working on or what you should be doing? That's
Yes, and thankfully, this is not one of those days or weeks.
okay. Okay, that's
It's a
good.
rare thing, but this is a good week.
I love it, man. That's the kind of day I'm having right now. I'm trying to figure out. Holy crap! Like I've been on. I was on 2.5 hours worth of back-to-back Zoom calls this morning for various things. And so anyway, feel like
That'll
I'm
be next week. Next week, we're doing a yearly training, trying to get refocused on 2021, and
okay.
it's terrible, man. We gotta retrain like how to greet people, how to welcome visitors, how to check people in. I mean, it's just gotten so bad in the last 8 months with what our church is doing. I mean, they're just out of groove, trying to get everything going back to normal.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
we're in uh, a state that seems to really want to enforce every single restriction possible. So we're already the anomaly a little bit that we're staying open. Like people are like, you guys are open, you guys are open. And, it's just been interesting, but we also don't want to, shove our nose up at the county either. So we're ready to get back to normal.
Yeah.
But tell you what, man, it's just amazing how God has provided like everything for our church. We've never once doubted the financial status of our church, even though our attendance at weeks, I mean, we were down to 30% some weeks, 50%. And it's just like
Yeah.
financially cared for everything, set us up for next year. I mean, yeah, we got so many good projects happening right now. It's just really neat.
Bro, I'm so glad to hear that, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm glad you guys are still open. That's cool. Knocking out that training next week and just seeing God providing all, bro. That's awesome. It's awesome. Jose, what's going on in your world, man? Oh, I think you're muted, bro.
Yeah, just here. We're still online, so we're not face to face.
Okay.
So that's a challenge, but
Yeah.
but I've seen some good stuff going on with small groups.
Okay.
So that's
How are you guys doing your online small groups? Are you doing them through Zoom or something else?
Flu Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so weird. We're doing online, and I have several people at the church. They anti-Facebook.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I'm trying to get them online, share some stuff, but they're young people. They're in their 30s. It drives me crazy.
That's so funny, man.
I'm trying to get them, just kind of share the service or the message or post some things, but they just anti-Facebook. They won't be on Facebook. I try to share some statistics with them. I tell them that's where the people are right now, but
Yeah.
it's been like pulling teeth. And I think the other thing I have is just sometimes we're doing the small groups. They don't want to share videos,
Oh yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah. And then right after church too, we kind of hang out for like another 15 to 30 minutes. That has been really great.
Oh, cool.
Like
Okay.
fellowship, we talk about the message, just check what's going on with their life. It's been really great. The only problem is just most of the time they don't want to share their videos, and I think it's kind of like a turn off for new guests because when they come to the meeting, they only see me and my wife, and one or two other people might have their videos. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I think for the new guests, sometimes right now I just try to invite them to Facebook Live only now because when they come to the Zoom, you don't know who's there.
Yeah. Well, and just so you know, that's completely normal, right? Like people are afraid that either they don't look good or the background's weird or they got kids running around or something like that, right? Like, we do a weekly men's meeting on Zoom every Monday night at our church. And it's the same way, I bet. And it's, it's mostly like young guys, it's mostly probably in the 20 to 55 like range. And I bet you we have at least 70% of people have their videos turned off.
Oh,
right?
really?
It's like, yeah,
Okay.
it's just funny, right? Most people are sitting there like they're muted, their videos are turned off, they're listening, they're engaged, but like, they're either driving or they're, like maybe out, like, walking or riding a bike, or maybe they're, at the house, but just whatever, they're just not on there. So we've seen the majority of people don't have their video turned on. So just so you know, it's not you, your people aren't weird. Like that's just kind of normal these days.
I'm part of another pastor's forum, and I asked them. It's like everybody had theirs on, no problem.
I'm sure it depends. We probably have anywhere from 50 to 100 guys on every Monday night when we do it. And like I said, I bet you at least 70% of them, close to 3/4 of them, have their video turned off.
I mean, that's fine, but at least, if when you're talking to me, at least just put the video on and you can go back off. You see what I'm saying? Just
yeah.
From time to time, just put it on. I'm talking, let's put that on. That's all. But yeah. And I think the problem we have now, because we have more of them not doing it, so that kind of messed up the culture.
Yep.
Because and Sean is turning his on now.
Sean his video on, man. See, well, and it's everybody. Like I'll tell you guys too, right? Like if I'm in a small group or something like that, like I'll have my video on, right, and we're all like talking that kind of stuff. But if it's a large group, like I normally turn my video off, right? Because I'm like walking around. So, you don't want to be rude. You don't want to look like you're not interested if you're like walking around doing stuff or something like that, even though you're listening. So I think that's how most people are. So okay, well, very cool, man. Rob Wallace, how's everything going in your world, bro?
You're on mute.
I can't hear you, man. You're not muted, but I can't hear you for some reason. Let's see. So while he's trying to fix his, Sean, what's going on in your world, bro? How's everything going at church, family? What's going on, man?
Yeah, things are going. You guys hearing me okay?
Yeah, hear you great.
Yeah, things are going pretty good. We kind of took a different tact. Cases rose over the last 5 or 6 weeks here. They're starting to come down again, but I've just kind of led us back to normal as much as possible. It's been kind of interesting because we've had a bunch of people visit. The churches were closed and they're like, we want to go someplace. We want it in person. We didn't want digital, or we're not online or whatever. We just wanted the freedom to make our own choice. And that's what I promoted. I've told our church family, and we got a number of people. We went from 2 services to 1, and numbers stopped coming. And I told them that's okay. You don't have to be here. I just want to leave it open for people who want to be here.
Yeah.
And we had record attendance for the year almost, not quite. Maybe January might have exceeded it, but a week ago Sunday we had 93 people, which, pre-COVID that was we could have done that, but after COVID there was no way we were gonna get close to that.
Yeah.
And we've had a few families off of Facebook start to show up. It's kind of weird. For a long time we had people who would respond, say they're coming, and I just got, I don't want to say I got cynical, but I got cynical. Like, they're not coming, and you still follow up with them. And but last 4 or 5 weeks, all of a sudden, we've had a family here or there show up that, I almost forgot they were coming. One couple, I'm Heather, and we talked earlier in the week, and I got her confused with someone else, and I'm like, oh, okay, because so many people say they're coming that don't show up, that I just, so it's been good. We just had a few cases of COVID show up this week in our church for the first time. One friend of mine's in the hospital. So it hasn't touched our church until now, but so it's been interesting. Christmas Eve coming up tomorrow. Probably, our service last Sunday just dropped from like 93 down to 68. So, I think people heard people got sick and said, we're not coming. And I said, that's okay too. So we'll see what happens going forward. I'm excited for the new year, trying to get ready for all that. Business meeting coming up, all of that. I got my ads turned down way low, still running them, but turned down really low, so I don't get a ton of response. But a number of people responding saying, hey, when this virus lets up, I probably got about 15, 20 people who message me once a month and say, hey, when this lets up, we're coming.
Yeah.
So see what God does, but did have a guy last week, though. I got to share this. I'm trying to remember if that was Saturday. No, it was earlier in the week, but he messaged, I'm scared to go to hell. And what was interesting was he messaged, got the bot, of course, and he messaged back and he said, I guess if you want to ignore me, then you can ignore me. But he was ticked off. And so by the time I got to it was maybe an hour later, sat down, typed up, hey, I can't be here 24/7, but I'm here right now. He came back and apologized. They said, hey, you said you're scared of hell. So I led him through the gospel. I use Way of the Master. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
No.
you bring somebody to the law basically, and you show them how they're a sinner and ask them if you start off asking them the good person. So ask me, a good person? Yeah, I'm a good person. All right. And right away he starts out with, he's a homosexual, he's gay. And I'm like, that's fine. Let's set that aside, because you know what? You're bad enough without being gay. You're a liar, you're a thief, you're everything else. So let's not pick on that, because otherwise you're just going to think I'm a homophobe,
Yeah.
Led him through the gospel. At the end, he said, I'm in, wants to come to church. So he wasn't able to make it this last Sunday. I need to find a ride for him, but it's exciting. He made a profession. At least we'll see if he follows through, see if it's true. We don't know, but that's between him and Jesus. But that's exciting. Yep.
Bro, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Sean. That's the kind of stuff that just keeps us going and warms our heart, man. That's awesome, bro. Rob, so I know you're saying not sure how to fix your audio. That's right. Just use the chat. That way, at least you can still just let us know, man, how things are going, how everything's going in your world, that kind of stuff. Josh, I want to say this, man. Thank you for the Christmas cards, bro. You're a stud. And the Starbucks gift cards and everything, man. That's awesome. Really, really appreciate that, bro. We came back. We went to the beach last week. It's kind of an impromptu vacation. Basically, found out my brother-in-law and a couple other families were going. So my wife was like, "Hey, can we hijack your vacation and roll to the beach with you guys?" And my brother-in-law, who's kind of like the more the merrier guy, was like, "Heck yeah, we can get a bigger beach house if we do it that way anyway." So we all went down to Gulf Shores, Alabama, which I've never been to. So all last week I was playing soccer on the beach and ultimate frisbee. Taught my 8-year-old son. He'd never seen him and my 5-year-old daughter had never seen the ocean before. So I showed them, this is how you get into the ocean, right? Basically, you take a step back and then you run as fast as you can into the ocean, jump over the waves and dive in head first when you can't run anymore. In December, that's pretty daggone cold, but we did it. And then my son's like, great. All right. He's like, and then we get out and he's like, let's do it again. I'm like, no, you just do that once. I don't think you understand. And so I don't know how many, 5, 6, 7 times we get a running start, dive into the ocean, be freezing, come back out. But it was a blast. Although full transparency, I was not able to unplug. Like I kind of failed miserably last week at like being fully present with my family. I don't know if you guys have ever had that with everything going on with, the Facebook ministry ads and clients and work stuff and all these different things we're gearing up for in January. I spent a couple of days working, and then even the days where I was there, I just couldn't unplug and get stuff out of there. So it was one of those things where I came back, I was like, kind of frustrated with myself. I just wasn't able to unplug and put everything else aside and enjoy myself.
So I just took a vacation this year, and I learned that it took me 4, almost 5 days to finally on a vacation.
Okay.
Because you don't look how fast you're moving, and like the first couple of days, and then it took 4 to 5 days. They say that's why if you can book 2-week vacations for yourself as a pastor or a ministry leader, you should, because the first 4 to 5 days, typically you just can't unplug.
Bro. Shoot, I'm glad you shared that. I might have to start doing that, because that kind of resonates with me. I'm telling you, it was and it's the first time, at least for me, it's the first time I've ever fully done that. Right? There's times where I've gone on different things and I'll probably have to work a little bit while I'm there and all good. But it was like I found myself like staying up night, like worried about stuff and thinking about things like, oh crap, do we do this? I got to check with the team on this, and there's so many different things. So I appreciate you sharing that, Josh, because maybe that's what I'll do next time is a 2-week vacation. I've been once all the COVID crap is under control and over and all that stuff, I really want to take my family to Hawaii, because I lived there for 6 months back in 2006, and literally just did it to do it. Like I moved to Hawaii, lived there for 6 months with my little brother, and then moved back. And man, maybe a 2-week Hawaiian vacation would be the thing to do. So, all right. Rob said, oh man, had Rob stopped someone from committing suicide. Oh yeah, Caleb was telling me about this yesterday, bro. Man, that is awesome, bro. What an incredible thing. And then they came to church on Sunday and got saved, didn't they, bro? So stopped the suicide, and then got that person to come to church, and then led them to the Lord, bro. Man, that's what it's all about, man. That's incredible. Great job, man. And let me just congratulate you, because I know, especially like the prayers, I know it's not easy always staying on top of that and praying for people to all stuff, right? So one of those things, like the first, like, couple weeks, the first month, you're like pumped about it. Like, oh, look at all this ministry you're doing. But like the second week, you're still excited. By about month 3, the honeymoon is over, right? And it's still just like, it's like, oh, here's another thing that we have to do and that kind of stuff. And especially if some of the people that you're talking to can be a little bit taxing, right? It sometimes can be tough to stay on top of everything. So man, props to you. You've been going like 4 or 5 months strong now, and freaking led someone to the Lord, brought them to Christ, and stopped someone from committing suicide because of your faithfulness, right? So that's someone that we will all party with in heaven because of your faithfulness, man. That's awesome. So thank you. Wow. Okay. All right, so here's we'll just cover a couple of things. I know everyone's gearing up for Christmas. I don't want this to go super long. I do want to answer any questions anyone might have, but I know we got a smaller crew this week, which I kind of expected, just with Christmas Eve being tomorrow. But here's kind of what we're thinking. I think all of you guys have the prayer ads running right now. If you're not, we just wanted to recommend that you have the prayer ads running for the rest of the year, right? Just because Christmas, New Year's, a lot of people, and I know Caleb talked about it last week. Caleb's brilliant, right? And his background in counseling and stuff is such an asset to not only to our team, but I think all, to all the churches out there, just understanding from a human perspective, right? Like what people are going through right now, right? And all that kind of stuff. I mean, the amount of people that commit suicide or that are wrestling with depression during the holidays, like the statistics are staggering. So having those prayer ads on for the rest of this month is really, really important, just for, there's going to be a ton of people on Christmas Eve, Christmas, the day after Christmas, who are just going through some stuff, right? So just taking time to pray for those people. If you have to crank the ad spend down, like Sean was talking about, something like that, like do it. But just making sure that you're praying for people over these holidays, because this is going to be really, really tough, right? But then we want to capitalize on the natural momentum that comes with the new year. And so we think the best way to do that is with Discover Your Purpose. So we recommend January 1, either switching over to Discover Your Purpose or splitting your budget between the prayer ads and Discover Your Purpose, right? There's going to be a lot of people, and I think you're going to be able to have a lot more people than normal going through that Discover Your Purpose quiz, because there are people just trying to figure out, what 2021 is going to be about, what their kind of life purpose is, and that kind of stuff. So, and then for those of you guys who also have the 21-day marriage challenge, we recommend turning that on February 1st, right? So basically, like December, holidays, New Year's Eve, we're going hard in the paint with the prayer ads. And then January, we're capitalizing on all that momentum of the new year. We want to go with Discover Your Purpose. And then February 1st, right now, everyone's thinking about relationships, either getting a girlfriend or having their marriage, or trying to fix their marriage, or whatever it is. So turning on that 21-day marriage challenge is a really, we think is going to be really important in kind of running that all the way through February, right? And then all of a sudden, here we are in March, and now we're staring down the barrel of Easter. And in Jesus' name, we're going to actually be able to have people to our churches on Easter this year, not like 2020. So we've got some really cool things. So I think that's something that we just kind of wanted to put on your radar is, prayer ads in December, Discover Your Purpose in January, 21-day marriage challenge in February. So we've got some pretty cool things coming that we're excited about. So one of the things, we're actually starting a YouTube channel. I hired a YouTube company to go out there rather than try to figure it out myself, right? I'm a big fan of buying coaching programs, hiring coaches, and hiring experts to do the things that I want to do so that I can move faster. And so I hired a YouTube company. They're really expensive, and but it's literally like they do absolutely everything for you, all the keyword research and everything. So I'm flying out to Utah on January 4th, and I'm recording 20 YouTube videos in one day. and then they'll be. It'll take about 3 weeks for them to get all the videos edited and start that. But so starting at the end of January, beginning of February, we'll be posting one YouTube video a day, every single day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And that will happen all the way through the entire 2021 because I signed a 1-year contract with them. So literally, I'm about to shoot and release 260 videos over the next 12 months. So it's exciting. And I'm also a little bit nervous about it. So, like I don't mind doing Zoom calls like this. This is no big deal, but being in front of a camera where it's pointed at you and you have to deliver all the content and all that kind of stuff, especially 20 videos in a day, it's going to be a little crazy. So, but the good thing is we'll be able to put out a lot of content and a lot of stuff. And it's all just aimed towards pastors and basically helping with different, aspects of Facebook ads, chatbots, church growth, assimilation, planner visit, all that kind of stuff. So Josh said, just hired a financial advisor to help me plan for 40 years from now. Can't be a master, have time enough to learn everything, bro. That's what I'm saying, right? It's one of those things where I've learned that there are certain things you need to learn yourself and figure out and kind of dive in and go all in on. Everything else you need to hire someone to do or find someone to, that can kind of do it for you. And so that's been part of my leveling up process, right? Even leveling up my leadership. I just got off a Zoom call with one of my coaches, and she was literally just saying like, hey, you have to hire a VA, like a virtual assistant. She's like, you have to have an assistant. You're doing way too much stuff. Like there's no way you can grow like if you don't continue, if you don't start outsourcing some of that stuff, right? So I don't know about you guys. Hiring to me is just a little scary because it's like, oh crap, like what if they screw things up? What if they send an email from me that isn't the way I would say it? Or what if they say something horrible? Or what if they post on social media or all these? But that's all the kind of stuff that I need to be doing. So anyway, that's something that I don't know if you guys have ever considered that. I've talked to a couple churches about this before, but you can typically hire a virtual assistant for about $500 a month, and they will work 40 hours a week. So if you hire from like the Philippines, and they're people that speak perfect English and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'll keep you guys informed as I go through that hiring process over the next month or so. I'm nervous about it, but I've got a buddy of mine who transformed his business. Like he hired one lady from the Philippines to be a VA, pays her $500 a month. Her name's Jade. And he's like, dude, she does everything for me. He's like, it changed everything. I don't know why I was so nervous and put it off for a year. So that's probably going to be me too. And I'll be singing the praises of all of it and kind of letting you guys know. So, but anyway, I know that's, Josh, the ministry leaders can be just as scary at times, and the things they post and say, yeah, 100%, right? Like, like you never know what people are going to say. What if they say it on your behalf, right? Or what if it's just like, oh yeah, like he's a church leader here, and he went off and said some crazy stuff on social media. Sean said, kills me to pay for others being a DIY guy, but I've never regretted it when I did. I feel you, man. That's like one of the biggest problems I have is I pretty much always think, I could do that, right? It's like, oh yeah, like I know graphic design. I'll just go design it myself. It's like, like web design. It's like, yeah, I can figure out how to build websites. Right? It's like funnels. I'll figure out how to build funnels, and I've always done that, which has got me this far. But it's like, what got me here won't get me there, kind of thing, right? So it's like, in order to go to the next level, you got to do that. So I think you're right. I'm totally a DIY guy, and I also I have a hard time delegating things, right? Like, so like even when I was a youth pastor, we grew. They were running about 60 kids when I first took over. Within 90 days, we were running about 130 kids. What book is that, Josh?
It's a book called Dangerous Calling. It's one I already talked about, and it talks about one of the issues with not be self-glorying, which is a sign of not being willing to give the responsibilities to other delegate. Because we want, sometimes we have a narcissistic tendency. Narcissism sounds so mean, but we do have a tendency to be like, I can do it and no one else is going to do it right. Yeah. And it talks about it as a sin issue and how it hinders us from fulfilling our obligation, and how Christ, even Christ on earth, doesn't do everything himself besides the cross, but he was always sending his disciples out and doing things and getting them to do, I just finished Luke, and he didn't prepare his last meal. He had his disciples go and prepare the upper room for him. And yet we're over here like, hey, I need to set up the meal. We're going to have the event. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. I need to arrange this. And I'm like, man, Jesus just showed up for the meal and did his thing. and we got to, it's a great book. It'll beat you up. It's kind of a boring read at times because he's redundant, but most self books are. So
Okay.
I hate that.
I hear that, man. Yeah, I have a hard time with that stuff. So I'm gonna have to get past it. All right. So enough of.
Are you using a company to hire that like personal assistant?
Yeah. So the YouTube company that I hired is helping with a lot of aspects of just like all of our funnels and our online presence and stuff like that. Right. So there's kind of two aspects that the company's helping with. One is actual YouTube stuff, and then one's all like online strategy and digital marketing and stuff like that. And so that's one of the cool thing is like, so the one girl's like, listen, I will help you hire all of those people. She's like, I will screen all the people. She's like, I'll help you interview the VAs. I know exactly what to ask and look for and different stuff. And so she's like, let me help, but we have to get you some help immediately. Right. So, and typically January and August, January and then like August, September are usually the three biggest months out of the year for us, right? So like when all the budgets reset in January, we'll have a lot of churches that we've been talking. My wife's trying to FaceTime me. A lot of the churches that we talked to all throughout 2020 will come back in January and be like, hey, now we got the money, we're ready to go, right? So that plus everybody that we're normally talking with. And so onboarding gets a little bit crazy and then just, so it's always good, but January is just a crazy time. And so they're basically like, hey, you need to hire someone like now, like over the Christmas holidays to help with everything that's going to happen in January. So, all right, so let me tell my wife that since she keeps calling back. Give me just a second. Hey. All right, sorry about that, guys. I don't know about y'all. Whenever my wife calls the first time if I'm in the middle of something, I'm normally like, okay, I get it. If she calls back, I'm like, crap, hold on. Let me just make sure she's not like broke down the side of the highway. And it was an emergency. She's trying to figure out what type of cheddar goes in the queso that I'm making on the Traeger tomorrow. And she's getting that. So otherwise we might have ended up with the wrong type of cheese, and that could be all kinds of crazy. Can't have that on Christmas Eve. So, all right. So anyway, all right, let's open it up and let's answer. Do you guys have any questions specifically? Anything that I can help with? Facebook ads, chatbots, marketing, anything like that at all?
What's that 21-day marriage challenge?
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that, Jose?
What was the 21-day marriage challenge? What's that entail?
Oh yeah, so part of the 1 year program that we have, right? So everything starts with the prayer ads, right? It's kind of the whole Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It starts with the prayer ads, and then we move on to discover your purpose. So the prayer ads hit like the bottom 3 levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. People with physical needs, safety needs, financial needs, those types of things, right? And then discover your purpose hits the people in the top 2 levels of the pyramid. People that are looking for self-actualization. They want to find their purpose. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves, right? That's why that's such a great campaign for January. And then from there, then we move on to the 21-day marriage challenge and start targeting like marriages and relationships, right? And then after that, we target young families, have with a parenting campaign, and then entrepreneurs and local business owners, and then finishing it with a 30-day Bible challenge. So that's kind of the whole 1 year. I know not everybody's done like the 1 year, but that's how we recommend running it, starting with the prayer ads and discover your purpose, and then the 21-day marriage challenge. So it's the same strategy as the prayer ads, where we're running a Facebook ad that then runs into Facebook Messenger and kicks off a chatbot. The difference is with the 21-day challenge, instead of like submitting a prayer request, they're signing up for a 21-day marriage challenge, and then it delivers it in a PDF inside of the chatbot, and then kind of leads them through. There's still prayer involved, right? So you're still sending a prayer to every single person there, because like afterwards say, hey, here's the 21-day marriage challenge. Thanks so much for signing up. We're going to be praying for you over the next 21 days. How specifically would you like us to pray for your marriage, right? And then sometimes people respond to it, sometimes they don't. Either way, you still send an audio prayer. The difference is now you know what to pray, right? You're praying for their marriage, right? And so you can basically almost send the exact same prayer to everyone that you would be, unless they specifically say, hey, I'd love for you to pray for this area of my marriage. And then and so you'll send the audio prayer, and then it runs to plan your visit. So it's the same type of strategy as the prayer ads. The only difference is now the kind of ministry hook, right, that they're signing up for, instead of like, hey, send us your prayer request, is, hey, do you want to do the 21-day marriage challenge? They sign up for that. They get the marriage PDF. Then it says, hey, we're going to be praying for you for the next 21 days. How would you like us to pray for you specifically? And then you send the audio prayer, and then it invites them to plan your visit. So all of the campaigns have those same elements. The difference is just kind of that ministry hook on the front end.
So that 21 days gives them different activity to do each day?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it was created by none other than Caleb Steele, the one and only the brilliant Caleb Steele. And in true Caleb fashion, right? Like, cause I was just thinking, hey, just go create a 21-day marriage challenge. Like, man, you're a counselor. You do a lot of marriage and family counseling. You have your master's in marriage family counseling. Just go create, something, throw it together. He did like hours and hours of research and all this kinds of stuff. And I'm like, hey man, just throw it together, right? Like, no big deal. But it's like all like based on stuff, like smart stuff, anyway. So it's like, it's not just thrown together like something you might find on the internet. There's actually like scientific data behind every single challenge and what days that he presents it, and the whole, like, he over-engineered the crap out of that. So it's a pretty strong challenge.
What about the Discover Your Purpose? Does it is it like similar PDF or like?
No. So Discover Your Purpose is different. It's a quiz, right? So Discover Your Purpose, which I think Sean, Josh, and Rob, I think all of you guys are running Discover Your Purpose, aren't you? Oh,
I'm
okay.
not,
So
but
Rob a little bit, Josh has. Sean,
Yeah,
you're not.
yeah, we're budgeting once we get our budget done for the year, end of
Okay.
January or so. I'll be getting a hold of you. So
Oh, okay, cool.
'Cause we're
So
gonna
I was
step up
thinking
the
you'd
next
already
line.
run that. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so Jose, so Joshua and Rob can tell you. Aaron, who's not on here right now, but he's run a bunch of it, right? So what we've seen, like, we had, and Jamie's not on here either. Like when Jamie was running it at his church, they were running about 80 people. They grew using the prayer ads. They grew from about 80 to 100 using the prayer ads in about 4.5 months. And then they went from 100 to 150 in about 2 months using Discover Your Purpose, right? And because the reason is, again, because that Maslow's hierarchy needs, you're just reaching a completely different demographic of people with Discover Your Purpose, right? So instead of like, hey, how can we pray for you? And everyone that has a prayer need comes out, right? When you say, hey, are you trying to figure out your life purpose? Take this, take this simple quiz to figure out your purpose, right? Then they're going through like this chatbot quiz inside of Facebook Messenger. And then at the end of it, it kind of reaches and just says, hey, here's the deal, right? And it's kind of cool. Like it tells you, like, it's kind of scarily accurate from about 99% of the people that go through it, right? Like, oh, that's kind of nailed it. And it's a simple quiz, but then it kind of leads people back to the gospel and just says, hey, there's no way, like, you are the created thing. There's no way, someone that was created can, excuse me, kind of figure out their own purpose. We have to look to the one who created us. So you can't start with yourself when you're trying to discover your purpose. You have to start with God, right? And then deliver a video that just kind of explains. And we recommend you actually create that video, just like a little 5 to 10 minute video of you explaining how to discover your purpose. So that way they're introduced to you. And then same thing. Then it leads to a prayer. We just say, hey, we're going to be praying for you as you kind of go through this process of figuring out your purpose. How specifically can we pray for you? And regardless of whether or not they actually do that, just like the prayer thing, you just send the prayer because you know what to pray for, and then it automatically invites them to plan your visit as well. So that's kind of the overview. So those are the first 3 campaigns we always recommend running, is starting with the prayer ads, then Discover Your Purpose, then the 21-day marriage challenge, and all of them have the element of prayer and then plan your visit. And then just kind of like the beginning of that is just the ministry hook is what's different for each one.
Gotcha.
Sean, or excuse me, Josh, Sean was asking, could you just share a little bit how Discover Your Purpose has worked versus the prayer ad?
The Discover Your Purpose quiz, especially if you're in a good area, Sean, you're getting lots of people from the How Can We Pray For You? So as soon as you turn it on, you're getting a huge wave of people, probably the first day or two. And it'll actually, if they did how they can pray for you, it shows up that you prayed for them in the same chat. So that's really helpful. So you can actually scroll up and you can be like, hey, this is, you're reconnecting people second time. So that's really helpful. One is these are people that are searching for ministry, it looks like, or they're just inquisitive. You have the same people. You don't get people asking for financial assistance, in case you're wondering about that. You get people who maybe know the Bible, used to be in church, are currently in church, or kind of if and out of church a little bit. One of the things I will say, like, if you have a pastor friend in the area, ask them to walk through your church possibly before you start running the Discover Your Purpose ad. Even now, just to be like, what do you see, or how does my flow of my church work? Because when you're bringing visitors to your church, like, does my church have a weird smell? Does the auditorium smell weird? How do we sit? How do we greet? What's the lobby look like? Is there proper signage? Is there visitor parking? What's the outside look like? Does it look trashy? Does my bathroom walls look gross? Can we cover this up with $50 of paint, or do we need a remodel? And I'm not trying, it's first of all, it's never about money, but you're going to go, if you're going to clientele people, put them on a scale of 1 to 10, 3s to 5s, with the Discover Your Purpose being more 6s to 8s. They're different. These are your people who are working in your middle-class neighborhoods, who are sitting around. They're not on their phones all day long. Your people who are doing the how can we pray for you? I swear some of them just sit on their phones all day long, just looking for something or anything else like that. These are people who are hopping in to get away from their kids, and they're sitting there in their bathrooms trying to have some peace and quiet. Okay. It's a different type. And when they ask prayer request, it is a deeper prayer request, I can say, on many of the Discover Your Purpose and those I get in How We Can Pray For You. I get a lot of heartfelt ones on How You Can Pray For You, but it feels like the Discover Your Purpose ones, when they put a prayer request in, they're really searching and reaching for something. And a lot of them are connected to other churches. That's bound to happen. But I would say for probably every 20 to 30, there's a few that aren't connected to a church at all. And for every person that says they're connected to a church, chances of them actually attending that church consistently and regularly is even smaller, because most people think they are faithful to their church if they attend 1 out of 5 services now. And but there's a huge difference in the way people react. I really don't comment on what the quiz had. I always just thank God for that they came to us, that they're invested in their future. And I kind of go over the 5 points of my prayer just a little bit. How God created us for fellowship and everything else like that. Rob's done a much better job. He's in a better area, I think, getting visitors in. I've been a little less forceful trying to invite people in because of our COVID, and this area has been up, down, up, down, up, down so much. That's been hard to be like, you need to come into the fellowship of the believers right now. And you're like, okay, but I also don't want you getting sick and blaming our church. Another church just made the news today that if you were in their church between December 12th and December 22nd, you've been exposed to COVID. I mean, local news and everything else like that just blast them out like that. And, we're trying to play it cautious. We don't want to be on the paper like that. But there's a huge difference, and you get a different group of people. And you get some of the same people from the last group coming over as well, which sometimes creates that second connection where they missed it and so forth. But we really enjoy the Discover Your Purpose ad, probably a little bit more than How I Can Pray For You ad. But both work at the same time. And I've never shut down. My Discover How I Can Pray For You ran out. That's the only reason why it ever got shut down, is I forgot to reset the time. But it's the only, I keep both of them running, even just a couple dollars a day.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me. Mine ran out in November. I didn't realize I was not getting much until I realized that last week. So.
Yeah, and it's funny. Some of those Facebook ads, and I don't think Facebook has this anymore, but when we first started creating like messenger ads, you had to choose an end date, right? And so it was like, I think the farthest we could go out was like a year. So we set all those out like a year when we were first creating them, and forgot about it, because I don't think you have to do that now. You can just run continuously. But yeah, so some of you guys who like signed up with us like last summer or like in the fall or winter last year, it's like all of a sudden hitting those dates where it turns off. And it's like, oh yeah, shoot, I forgot that was a thing. I've had that happen on some of my ads as well. So, but All right, cool. So, man, I don't want to leave you guys with any more questions. We have anything else we want to cover before we go? Nope. Going once, going twice.
I think it's good. How are you guys following up with your Facebook folks?
Do you mean like all the like the people that are coming in through the prayer ads, like into
No,
Messenger?
people like would just come like watch your Facebook live and so forth. Do you get a lot of them commenting on or liking to know who's there? Because I have way more people who are watching, but they're not making any comment. But I'll see some people at the store. Oh, I saw you last Sunday. Is it really?
Jose, I'm not gonna lie. I personally I was really into that stuff back in like April, March, and trying to do stuff like that. And then I realized it's almost impossible to keep up with everyone who may or may not be watching. The important thing is I guess I kind of retreated within a little bit core is just my core members and believers know that we love them, we miss them, and that we respect their decision and what they're trying to do right now. And when we got that across, we just let the Lord take it from there. And because I try to keep up with it, and then you can go insane thinking about things. It's kind of like if you ever lived this, good, hope you didn't, but I did for a while when I first started pastoring. It's like, man, we had 90 people here, but had this family and this family and this family showed up, we would have had 118. Why were they not here? And suddenly I realized that's taking things out of my control. It's, God's in control. Be grateful for the people who showed up. And realize out of the 73 gospel preaching churches in my county, out of 76,000 people, almost 100 decided to come to our church that week. And that's a miracle and a blessing in itself. And we're able to do children's ministry and youth ministry and push forward with the gospel and support 19 missionaries. I lost focus. And sometimes when I focus on the minutia of like chat and who's watching and who's not watching, I think that I'm the one making the difference. And it's not me at all. It's him. And that's why I kind of just, not that I'm lazy, but I just kind of like, whatever. You know what? God's in control. God's the master of everything. He's going to make it work. And I just got done. I did audio Bible right now of listening through Ezra and Nehemiah. And I just love listening to those guys when like everyone's coming against them. They're like, we didn't care. We did what we were supposed to do because God was on our side. God was on our side. God was on our side. I'm like, God's on our side. Why do I need to worry about all these little details right here? My job is to let people know that we're sincere and that we actually love our community and that we're here for them. And if I can do that, then we're winning.
I love that. I love that. I just want to make sure that, things are structured the way to make it easy for people to kind of listen. And are some of you like putting your videos on the website too, or just doing Facebook Live?
I do YouTube Live. Facebook was too unreliable back in March because of the amount of people streaming. When we switched over to the pandemic started, they couldn't keep up with the streaming services. So it was getting really choppy there trying to use Facebook Live. So we switched over to YouTube. For a long time, we pre-recorded our services and then we premiered them. But now YouTube and Facebook have updated their servers and can handle the bandwidth. So we're just using YouTube Live now. And then it posts to our channel afterwards. And we currently only have 60 subscribers, which for a church that runs just about 100 pre-COVID and everything, 60 adults have subscribed into our YouTube channel is a good thing. It is what it is. So God's blessed. But we do occasionally share the YouTube channel to Facebook. But one of the things, Jose, I don't know if you've ever done the research, is whatever you're producing, try to produce content that they want. So if you use Facebook Live, you're going to get a lot more views and reach than if you share a YouTube link to Facebook. So that is something, use the platform for what it's for. If you're on Instagram, use Instagram. Don't try to piggyback Instagram over to Facebook because it just won't get the reach it should. So, if we're going to use Facebook Live, because I do my chats on Facebook Live, but I won't do my services on Facebook Live. But I'll do my services on YouTube, but I won't do YouTube chats. I don't get any people jumping on YouTube chat to have a conversation with me. But if I'm sitting here and I'm going to say, hey, we're going to talk about something, I go on Facebook, I'll have 15, 20 people drop in and within the first 3 or 4 minutes. We'll reach, 400 or 500 views, by the time it's done like 3 or 4 days later. But if I got on YouTube, it'd be like views, 13. So like know where to use what. And YouTube keeps our sermons very well organized compared to Facebook Live. for us, because you can see the dates and when they were posted and the sermon series and everything. YouTube is just going to be in your scroll of everything else. Facebook's going to be through everything else you do. So it
That's
just
what I'm
depends
trying
on
to do now.
what you want to do and how you want to set it up.
That's what I'm trying to do. I do the Facebook Live now, and then after that, I archive them on Facebook on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
the message.
Here's why I like YouTube. Number one is like Josh was talking about, for the organization, you can create playlists, right? So like you can literally like go in. So if you preach in sermon series, you can literally create a playlist for every single sermon series. So that way they come in, they're like, oh, here's the marriage sermon series, right? They click on that, boom, there's all 4 or 6, marriage videos and that kind of stuff. So it's also easier to break everything up. So people find you and they go binge watch your content. They can find it and just, and it's not like they're just like scrolling through everything. You can have everything broken up that way, right? So that's pretty cool. And it, once you're doing it for long enough too, you could have like a marriage playlist, which could have, multiple sermons or sermon series that all relate to marriage, right? You can have them on faith or, and really any topic, but playlists are really cool. But here's the other thing, and a lot of people don't know this, and this is like one of the main reasons we're going all in on YouTube ourselves, is because YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, right? It's second only to Google, right? And it's owned by Google, right? So most people think of YouTube as like a social media, and it kind of is, right? It has some social social elements to it, but it's actually a search engine first, and it's actually growing at twice the rate of Facebook, right? So I mean, I think there are over 2 billion users now. And when you look at the numbers of like the next generation, right? A lot of churches are having trouble reaching the next generation. The next generation's on YouTube. And like something like Gen Z, I think it's 95% of Gen Zers are on YouTube for at least an hour a day. So what happens is when you start to post on YouTube consistently over and over and over, it takes a while, but then Facebook's algorithm takes over, and then they start showing your videos in people's suggested feeds. Right. So a lot of the videos, when I find new creators and new people that I listen to and watch on YouTube, is because it comes up in my suggested feed. YouTube will start doing that once you are, once you do that consistently. Right. So that's one of the reasons, like my YouTube coach is like, hey, we're going to post every single day, 5 days a week. I'm like, cool. Right. He's like, hey, the first 3 or 4 months is going to be really boring. In about 4 months, there's going to be a giant spike. And every few months there'll be a spike, and YouTube's algorithm will start to show your stuff. So even if you're not getting a ton of views right away, right? If you think about it with Facebook, you put the sermon out on Facebook, and you'll probably see a little bit of a spike for a day or two, and then it just dies, right? And then Facebook's never going to show, a sermon from last month or, a couple months ago at all, because it just dies right away. Whereas YouTube, the longer it lives on YouTube, the more it gets searched and the more it starts to catch momentum. So it's literally the opposite, right? Like Facebook, Instagram, all those, right? It's like a bunch of views at first, and then it just dies. With YouTube, even if it starts small, then it just grows over time. And because it's a search engine, more and more people find it.
Good deal.
So,
do you all connected to your website? I'm trying to communicate one place for people to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I would do if it were me, right? If like that's what I would do. I mean, that's what I set up for Guts when I was on staff there. Is we had a YouTube channel where we streamed live to YouTube. We posted everything on YouTube, and then we just posted all of those videos on our watch page on the website, right? So that way, if you were on YouTube, you could find them, and people on YouTube could find them from all over. Otherwise, we just say, hey, just go to gutschurch.com/watch. I don't know if that's still the one they're using, because that was a couple of years ago, but and so we had a watch page where we would just post it on there. And I think we even had a developer custom coded a little snippet of code or something where it like automatically just posted whenever we posted a video to YouTube, it automatically posted on that page. So I don't know how hard that is. It was just a developer in our that I was friends with at the church was like, hey, if you want, I can do this. And I was like, yes, please do that. Right. And then like by the next day, he's like, yep, it's up. So I was like, well, that makes my job even easier. But there's also, I'll post this link real quick. Let me make sure. I think it's Rivet. I haven't used these guys before because because of the way we've done it before. But I've been thinking about doing this. Yeah. So Rivet.com has really cool. I'll post it in the chat. you can basically it basically creates like a little mini website for your YouTube videos. And I think it's the same way as whenever you post something to YouTube, it automatically gets posted to your little Rivet site. So what you could do is on your website, you could just say, have like a watch page or a sermons page. And when they click on that, it could just link to your Rivet page. And most people won't even know they're leaving your website and going there. So it'll feel like it's part of it. But that way you don't have to go in every single time, post it to YouTube, and then go in and post it to your website and everything. It'll automatically go to Rivet. And Rivet looks really, really cool the way that you can kind of organize everything depending on the template you pick. So
Good deal. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, sure thing, man. So, all right, let's let's pray, and then, man, we'll go celebrate Christmas with our families and you guys. So I'm planning on. I'll be working next week, so we're still planning on having our regular call next week as well. So, all right, Jose, will you pray for us, bro?
Sure. Father, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be together, and I pray that you continue to help us in our journey as we seek to honor you and reaching others for you. Thank you, Father, for this meeting. Thank you for our time together. I pray that you continue to be with Chris and his team and Caleb, and continue leading this work. And I pray, Father, that you be with each one of us, be with Josh, Rob, and I pray that you watch over us. Sean, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be together. May you continue to be with us. We commit our time into your hand this Christmas season as we minister to others, as we know a lot of people are hurting during the season. I pray, Father, that you be with us, bless our families, and help us, Lord God, to minister effectively to others as well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Jose, before you do the Discover Your Purpose, read Purpose Driven Life.
Yeah, I just picked it up. Mine is right here. Where is it? It's here somewhere.
So good.
Yeah, my wife and I read it before we got married, and I just found our copies the other day. Gotta get back to it.
Love that. That's huge. I read a bunch of that before we wrote the Discover Your Purpose ad, and then before we created some of the copy inside of the chatbot and Discover Your Purpose. I actually went through that book looking for some of that. That whole idea of, hey, like the created thing can't discover its own purpose. You have to look to the one who created you. I literally ripped that right out of that book. I think I said it a little bit different, but that idea I literally just got from Rick Warren. I was like, that is brilliant. So yeah, it's awesome.
There's the reason why it's a bestseller.
100%. Yeah. I don't know if this is still true, but I remember hearing back in the day that it was the #2 best-selling book of all time behind only the Bible.
The Bible, yeah.
Good gracious. So, all right. Well, gentlemen, you guys have a phenomenal Christmas. Hang with your family, and man, we'll see you guys again soon.
Good deal. Thank you, guys.
All right. See y'all.